All right, well, good evening. Welcome to the Historical Commission meeting. Since our chair and vice chair are not present tonight, we need the commission to elect a vice chair just for this evening to be able to run the meeting. Hi, Seth. So I think we do that before we call the meeting to order. Is that what you think, Erin?
Yes.
Okay. So does anybody
nominate Seth?
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and
Wait, no, it needs, oh, Seth, sorry, I didn't see you there. Sorry, I was gonna say, no, it needs to be somebody here. So, yes, second, third.
Okay, so Seth, do you want to, well, I guess all in favor?
Sure.
What am I getting elected to?
Running the meeting tonight?
All right, let's go.
To stay on the commission for the rest of your term.
Yeah,
That's right.
this meeting, one more meeting. All right, you ready to do this?
So yeah, it was moved and seconded. So yeah, if you could call it to order, Seth.
I will call this meeting to order. It is 6:02, October 20th, 2021. Welcome everyone to the Lacey Historic Commission meeting. Let's do a roll call, and I'm going to call everyone I can see on my screen. If I miss anybody, please let me know. We have Erin Quinn Valcho, the museum curator, Lanny Weaver from the public. We got Jim Burbridge, our parks director, Commissioner Black, Commissioner Keogh, Youth Commissioner Miller. We got Commissioner Tyler. We got Sarah Smith and Commissioner Getz. Have I missed anyone? No? Okay. Looks like we have a quorum, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are ready to go. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes.
What have we got?
We want to add an item of correspondence.
Item of correspondence. So that would be 5B.
Well, is there a 5A?
There is a 5A.
Yeah, we sent out an updated,
Oh,
so we should be good on that.
I'm behind the times.
Okay.
No, it's okay, but I actually have a different suggestion. You might consider dropping 8B, the part 3 of the open public meetings, since we don't have a lot of commissioners here today. You guys want to consider that and do it next time?
Okay. That's open for discussion. Anybody want to discuss it? If not, are we all in favor of dropping 5 or 8B, part 3 of the open publics meeting training?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, 8B will be deleted from this meeting, and hopefully it will be added to the December one.
November, rather.
Oh, that's too bad.
Nice try.
Thank you. All right, then minutes. 3A, corrections and approval to the September 15th, 2021 minutes. Does anyone have any corrections to the minutes?
I did have a couple. It's just mostly formatting under old business.
Okay.
The commission wants to consider approving as changed. Let me pull it open here real quick, and Sarah can probably make these changes as we're listening, as she's listening. I'm just down here under old business, under the museum project. These should be down here. It should say salmon safe, and then it should have just the questions bulleted like voluntary cleanup. It's more in a conversational format right now. So it should just read salmon safe, volunteer cleanup. Go to the next page. For those first 2 questions. And then the other thing was under new business, Just a brief, just a quick one down here. Segment 3 for the training will be a 16-minute video at the October meeting rather than a 30-minute video.
Okay, and Sarah, you got those?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. It's nice to hear your voice. Does
Hi.
everyone know who Sarah Smith is?
I am Jen Burbage's executive assistant for Parks, Culture, and Recreation, and I'm taking over facilitating / hosting these meetings.
All right, thank you very much. So are there any more corrections or approval to September 15th, 2021 minutes? Then with those corrections that Park Director Burbridge had mentioned, so at this point, do I ask for a motion to approve the September 15th, 2021 minutes as amended?
Yes, so moved.
Do I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of approving the September 15th, 2021 minutes as amended, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Minutes have been approved. All right, announcements, number 4.
I got nothing.
All right, no announcements. 5A, Commissioner Huff's resignation letter. Oh, that's me. So I am resigning from the board very sadly. Part of my 12-step process of reintegrating myself into society, this, I would say post-COVID, but whatever we're in right now, COVID thing. One of the things was I got a job, and the technical field I usually work in, it's a morning thing. I found something that I can do here in Thurston County. However, it's a smaller place and they like business hours. They like me being there 9 to 5, 10 to 7, whatever they want. And just for anybody that does not have a job, it's thinking about getting a job, don't do it. It sucks. It really sucks in the medical field right now. So stay away from work. Got a job. Also, full disclosure, one of my family members, my wife, was just recently appointed to the Parks Board, which I blame the Parks Director for engaging all the residents of the city of Lacey out there. She was involved in the Lacey Care Survey, and then I think there was a subgroup or a more nice group. And then all of a sudden, starting in July or August, I just hear all these things about the parks and stuff. And I was like, well, you probably should go through the process of applying for a Parks Board position, just to go through the process, because I'm a process person. And she applied, got the position. I think Lacey's way too big to have 2 people in one family on boards and commissions. So on both issues, we decided that I would step down. So it's very, very sad. I love this group. This group has been great. You guys are about as professional as they come, and I'm the one that's going to suffer the loss from this. So thank you very much. I hope to have something a little bit better and more concise to tell you next month. But if I get too deep into thinking about this, I don't want to start tearing up at a boring government meeting that we're having. So, and I say that with sarcasm.
So I'll add that the council would like to recognize you at an upcoming meeting. And so we'll be coordinating with you for that.
Okay, that would be wonderful. Yeah, the council's great too. I'm too much of a cheerleader for too much of these things, but they are they've been great to work with, and I've always showed me a lot of dignity and respect and a lot of grace. So I really appreciate that.
And I'd just like to add, Seth, you're going to be really missed.
Well, as much as I'm going to be missed, it's going to be harder not seeing you all. The one thing that is just very frustrating about this is it's been 1.5 years or almost 2 years since I've seen anybody in person. And I was just hoping to have that normalcy again of meeting at the city hall and doing those things. And that was very, very special to me and very important. And we don't get to do that. And I was hoping that would happen soon, but obviously, because of how things are, it's just not going to happen anytime soon. So, but you guys are getting a good Parks Board member, but that's for the Parks Board to worry about. And the museum, might miss me now, but I will find my way back over there, Aaron, and hopefully with Jim too. Speaking of which, it is not on here, so I would like to just to take this time and talk about the rack kiosk project and see how you all feel about this. I have reached out to Jim, who expressed interest from the beginning of being the communication hub between the City of Lacey Historic Commission and the Thurston County Historic Commission, as far as the information that could be shared back and forth during these meetings. And I asked Jim to fill in for that spot as I'm leaving, and Jim gladly accepted, as long as everyone here finds that acceptable. I would like to go ahead and contact the Thurston County Historic Commission and let them know that Jim will be filling in for me. How's everybody feel about that?
Yeah, so I think but do we, if we're gonna do a motion, do we need to add it to the agenda?
Is this something that needs a motion?
For an ad hoc? Is it technically an ad hoc committee? The RAC?
Yeah, so Jim will be on an ad hoc committee on Thurston County Historic Commission.
But it's not our ad hoc committee.
It is not our ad hoc committee, no.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Okay, so, yeah, so we could probably just handle it now then. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm fine with that. I don't feel like it was any official position or anything like that, but I don't want to let that fall away, because I think the information does need to be fed back and forth. And having somebody at both meetings, I think, is a good way to keep this project, at least without Aaron getting too many phone calls. Okay, Jim, then thank you, Jim, again in person or in Zoom for accepting that responsibility. And I really appreciate that. And I will let them know as soon as I can that you'll be taking my spot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
6 calendar events, 6A, November History Talks. Aaron?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everyone of the upcoming history talk on November 10th at 6:30 p.m. We still have it down as hybrid, but I'm guessing it'll probably be online only. But it's going to be about the legacies of the Manhattan Project. It's going to be given by Michael Mays, who is a professor at Wazoo and the Hanford History Project director. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be really, really interesting. We had also, side note, we had about 90 people, I think, for our Nisqually talk earlier this month, and it was really, really good. So for those of you who are there, you probably know how amazing it was. And if you didn't get to see it, I'd recommend that you watch it when it goes up on YouTube.
And when is that?
I don't know. I'm not in control of that, but soon, hopefully.
And is that it for the calendar events?
Yes, sir.
7, old business. 7A, new
Hang
music.
on. Sorry, had my hand up.
Oh, sorry. My apologies, Kimberly.
Did we not have a 5B? Didn't we add 5B?
5B,
No.
5A.
5B was 5A. I didn't know anyone had been sent out.
Oh, okay, never mind. Thank you.
And thank you for letting me know you had your hand up. I'll be on the lookout for that. You should do that again, just to see if I can catch it. All right. 7, old business. 7A, new museum project.
Okay, that is me. So I wanted to let you know a couple of different things. So the regarding the cultural resources report, we had added to the most updated copy of the packet, the staff report and the professional service agreement for the cultural resources survey. And as we had discussed before, unfortunately, there was only one proposal submitted, which I know we had talked about in one of our prior meetings, which isn't ideal. But the good news is that we now have a contract for the cultural resources survey in place, and city staff met with the Archaeology Committee, which is an ad hoc Committee of this commission on October 13th, so last Wednesday. And they will be reporting out on some of the details. So I guess that would be David when the time comes on the agenda, unless Sarah gets here before then. Regarding the Salmon Safe certification, as I had let the commission know last time, we have been approved for certification. City staff reviewed the conditional report and had just a few questions that were answered by Salmon Safe, so we should now be good to go. I didn't add that report in to your packet because they were still, we had sent a couple of changes over to them, and so they still need to send that the final copy back to us, and at that point I will put it in your packet so that you guys have all of the information. But we're moving forward on that front. And then I finally have some information to share about museum funding. Let me open the cheat sheet draft timeline. My apologies, I thought I had this open already on my desktop, but it's not. Seems to be kind of the way the evening is going. Yeah. Oh, there's Commissioner 30 Acre. Hello.
Hello, sorry, stuck in traffic.
That's okay. Sarah, if you want to note that Commissioner 30 Acre is here at 6:17 p.m. We're so glad you could join us. I was just looking up some draft to share with you all on the museum funding. So I need to go to my Historic Commission file. So again, this is a draft, so just please bear in mind. Can you all see this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what I wanted to talk about here is, I think I had shared with you that there is a foundation that has filed. Their actual name is called the Lacey Community Foundation, but the shortened version is the Lacey Foundation, with that real focus on Lacey. And they have come forward and really want to support not only the museum project, but other things within the city of Lacey to bring more cool things to the community and really show support in a long-term way. So they have filed as a nonprofit. It's actually been created. They do not have a tax exempt status at this time, which is going to take a little bit more time and resources. And so that's their goal for next year, is to obtain a tax exempt status. And so right now they're looking, they're really close to hiring a campaign consultant, someone who actually specializes in foundations and is going to help them kind of set up their board. When you file for a nonprofit, you do have to have a few board members, but they only have like 3 or 4 people right now. And so they're wanting to expand that and become, like I said, the full tax exempt, bigger board, maybe perhaps up to 15 people type of a board that can be really engaged in the foundation. So that's what they're doing. And so to be able to start taking donations to get themselves established, they're seeking a fiscal sponsor of another nonprofit who is tax exempt. So that way, if they take in money, the donations are, they can file it on their tax return as tax deductible. So that's what's going on. That's what's been actually going on this year. I just haven't been in a solid enough place to be able to report out on that. So that is exciting news. And they are eventually going to be coming to speak to you all. I just don't know exactly when that's going to be. But their goal in the next 6 months, so I put it under 2022 because there's only a few more months left of 21. They are going to be looking for a first goal of $100,000. And that is to go toward, like I said, setting up their foundation. They do want to support the museum project. but they are not earmarking that first 100,000 for that project itself, but rather to get themselves set up. And I will let them share more information about that once they do come to the commission meeting. But it's kind of exciting. What I wanted to show is just the years and what the goals are here. So if you look over on the Lacey Park side, you'll see that the first Heritage Capital Projects grant was completed. And then Aaron and I were just recently talking about applying for the NEH exhibit planning grant, because that's the next piece we really need is the rest of the exhibit design. As you know, Lacey Fire District 3 donated $25,000 to get us started on that, but there's still another 75 needed. And is Aaron, the acronym, I did not spell these out. It's the Humanities, right?
Yeah, National Endowment for the Humanities.
Okay. And so one of the things, so for 2022, I'll go over that and then I'll talk about some of the challenges and opportunities that we have. So in 2022, we'll be getting the second Heritage Capital Project grant started. And that is, as you know, the $607,000 to get the site back to the pre-development stage. And then one of the things that Aaron and I have been working on are these next two items, which is setting up a community partners program and starting a charter membership program. And so some of the goal of the community partners program is really long-term partnerships, not only for donations, but also meaningful projects that will keep, community groups engaged in such a long-term project. One of the things that we want to avoid is fundraising fatigue. And so that's something that we've really been struggling with, like, how to engage the community when it is such a long-term project. And so the goal of the Community Partners Program would be to lay the groundwork for ongoing success in a few different ways. And it also could be customized to each group and organization that wants to be involved. So for example, North Houston Public Schools, North Houston Kiwanis, Lacey Rotary, groups like that. So we're putting together an annual donations program, like think in terms of $1,000 or more per year. And then also a small project, like list of things that they can help with along the way. So one of the challenges we have is that, these groups really want to get out there right now and they want to actually do stuff at the museum, but we don't need that kind of hands-on help yet. So we thought if we combined, a long-term, like the smaller amount type of fundraising or donations program that's ongoing, and then pair that with the hands-on projects that are customized towards a certain group, then those two things together will keep them engaged and interested, and just really communicating with them that, this is a long-term project and we don't want there to be fatigue. We want to make sure that we're doing this in a successful way. So that's kind of where we are with that. Like I said, we haven't put it all the way together yet, but it's on our list of goals to work on as we can this year, but definitely in 2022. And then the charter membership program, again, we'll have information we can bring forth to the commission, but we're developing it to start laying the foundation for ongoing memberships and individual giving. So that's one of the things we'd like to do. And then we definitely need to apply for the BNSF Foundation. We had applied for $10,000 for the historic markers over at the site. We only got 5,000 of that, but we're hopeful to be able to put in a bigger application to this foundation. And they have shown historically that if you've worked with them before, they'll be supportive in a bigger way in the future. So we'll work on that in 2022. The other thing is we will need to monitor the DCIP. And Aaron, this is actually new since the last time you and I met. It sounds like, so the DCIP is sorry, I should have written out all what the acronyms are. It's the Defense Communities Infrastructure Program. So it's a national grant opportunity. And the first year that it existed, they allocated for recreation type facilities in communities that have a strong military.
Oh, sorry, you were
Go ahead.
getting there. Never mind. Go ahead.
And then what happened, and Aaron, this is the piece I didn't realize, is that they changed it to be on base for the next year for 2021. No, excuse me. I think they're considering the change. Hold on, let me pull open our legislative agenda. Anyway, the reason I have recommend support here is that the city of Lacey on our legislative agenda are recommending that the DCIP be available to communities with strong military representation of military families and not just on base. So we have to monitor that and see if we are eligible. So you'll see this next one in 2023. So yeah, we aren't going to be able to apply for that in 22, but we'll have to see for 2023 if we would be eligible for that one. But the reason we bring this one up is because there were some community centers that were funded at like $10 million. And so this would be a really good resource if it's something that we could apply for. And then you'll see down here under 23, the community project funding. That's this project is mentioned on the city's community project funding to get it on the radar and try to build momentum now. And then we'd have to figure out strategically like which year to go forth for community project funding. And then in 2024, that's when we could apply. So hopefully by then we will have gotten matched. So so in 2022, we can't apply for the Heritage Capital Projects grant because we don't have match. But if we were able to get match before the deadline for 2024, then we can apply for that one again, the Heritage Capital Projects grant. We have down here too to apply for NEH. That must be, Aaron, a different program.
Yeah, that's the Museums for America grant, I think.
Okay, and then there's another one through ILMS.
Yes,
IMLS.
it's IMLS, not ILMS.
Oh, excuse me, I'll make that correction.
The Institute of Museum and Library Services.
Okay, and then there is also capital budget request, which would be on the state legislative agenda. Same type of thing. We're going to make sure that we make everyone aware of our project, but for this one strategically, it's like the final push, whereas the federal community project funding would be prior. It can be earlier in the process. But we do think, just strategizing, we think the city would be more successful with the capital budget request if it is, towards the end and the final push. And then we also have down here, over here in 2024, because you do have to be a little further along with the project, that the foundation could apply for the Murdoch Foundation funding. And then of course, in 2025, we have final fundraising push to the community on all accounts. So this is what we've come up with so far, and we're going to be continuing to update it to figure out what the funding strategy looks like.
So Jennifer, Jim Keogh, I had one question in here. You've got several different funding sources. What's the kind of, what would you say, reasonable range for what you hope to get from each of these?
Well,
I'm not looking for precision. I'm looking for kind of an idea of a number with a few zeros kind of thing.
Yeah, actually, that's the next step, Commissioner. And so we'll work on that. And that was something that I didn't have a chance to get prepared before this meeting. But we have another draft that's got the percentages. So I just need to kind of match the two up. Also, some of them depend on how much match we have. So like, for example, the Heritage Capital Projects grant, it'll depend on how much match we have. I do know that this one here, the DCIP, like I was saying earlier, that could be a large chunk, like up to $10 million if that's something that we are eligible for.
And what constitutes match for the Heritage grant?
Erin, do you want to answer that one?
So it can be anything that is spent on the project that is not state money
Okay.
and is eligible expenses for the project.
So federal and local would count toward that.
Correct.
Okay.
And is it 1-to-1?
No, it's 1/3, 2/3. So we get 1/3 for our 2/3.
Okay.
Yeah, so we will we'll flush this out with some earmark percentages, and I'll make sure I'll spell all of them out so you can tell what they are, and then put the acronym in parentheses. But yeah, challenges and opportunities. I guess we need to definitely be in sync with what the foundation is going to be doing, and there's going to be a lot of communication there. But
Sure.
challenging, yes, but also a really great opportunity to bring this to the community. I was going to mention too, I had a note here, the community project funding, the federal, the projects that are favored are regionally significant, or projects that span multiple agencies. So I thought that the museum would be a good fit for that.
Okay.
Since it's going to be a regional draw. Any other questions on that?
The DCIP recommending support, what does that look like? Are we, will be the council writing a letter? Will it be actually somebody attending a meeting?
So our assistant city manager is putting together the city's legislative agenda, and we have federal contacts and also a state lobbyist that the city works with.
Okay.
And so they will be bringing that forth. And I can, if you give me a moment, I can pull it open. I've seen a draft of it. I just have to locate it. If it's worth your wait for me to find it. That's up to you.
Yeah, I don't need to see it. I know we have the most active duty military members in the state live in Lacey. So I could see, us being a viable candidate for that if they're supporting communities outside a military facility.
Yeah, let me see. I think I got it here. Again, this is a draft, so I want to make sure you know that. Federal agenda. So you'll see content for 2022 federal agenda. You'll see the Lacey Museum and Cultural Center in the Depot District. And then what it is basically is we're not actually asking for money at this time, but it tells, a little bit about the project. It says that the city will seek federal appropriation funding to leverage local and state investments for construction activities to make this Catalyst Civic Project a reality. Oh, sorry, that's for the community projects funding, not the DCIP. Where did I see that? Let's see. I read a blurb on the DCIP.
Number 3.
You see it?
Yeah.
No, that's the EV chargers. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I thought it was on this one. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right, David. Okay. Support the defense. Yeah, support the DCIP. Encourage Department of Defense to fund projects that enhance military family quality of life. DCIP is designated to address deficiencies in infrastructure for communities that support military installation in order to enhance military value and installation resilience and military family quality of life. An estimated 70% of the active duty members serving at JBLM live off base and in communities across South Sound. Lacey estimates of this 10% reside within its boundaries. The city supports the DCIP program, particularly to support the quality of life of military families living off base, and believes the program should not restrict investments to within military installations. So that's how So this is gonna go out through the city's national legislative contact.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's all I had on the museum. Did you have anything to add, Erin?
Well, I guess the only thing I would say is that we just got all of our comments back on our contract for the next, for the current Heritage Capital Grant. So I'm gonna get that all put together and turn that in. So hopefully we can be under contract really soon.
Exciting.
All right. If that is it, let's go to 7B, Lacey Depot.
Okay, so thanks. For the depot, the building is locked up for the season. We do have one more rental this month. I believe it's this weekend that staff will be unlocking for, but it's going to be really cold. So hopefully it'll be all right. As you know, the restrooms will stay open because there is the park still, the train theme park still there. We did have an issue, so they'll stay open all year. They'll close at dark, so the times will change as far as when it gets locked up. We did have an issue with some theft in the restrooms. So those restrooms have been locked for the last just over a week. So the breakers for the lights kept tripping, and every time the lights were turned on, they kept tripping out. So the electrician went and checked it out. So somebody removed the faceplate from the switches and accessed the wiring inside. So we think that they were probably trying to steal power while they were in the bathroom. So facilities was trying to get it fixed by today. They had to locate a tamper-proof screw system that they could get those faceplates secured to avoid that from happening in the future. And hopefully we will have video cameras. I put in a budget request for security cameras at the site. And so hopefully that will get approved and we can, that will help a little bit. So, but on a more positive note, we're planning now for the spring relaunch of the food trucks, and would love to get the commission's thoughts if you guys have any ideas on how to make it better. I'll share a couple of slides with you. We had our staff brainstorm, and so we put together a little mini slideshow, just a couple of slides. That for you. So Food Truck Plaza is coming back. So here's what's going on, some facts. So Community and Economic Development is working with the Food Truck Association to make some improvements for next year. They are setting up a committee for spring relaunch, and we'll have our special events staff will be on the committee, Jeanette, and also our rental staff, which is Justin. The goal, they're trying to generate Lacey Depot foot traffic. We want to build, and a sub goal there is to build more excitement about the museum project. Community development is working towards a permanent location with a commercial kitchen on site for the future, not at the museum site, but potentially either down where we talked about where the, east of Clearbrook, where the coffee stand is currently, either there, or if there's issues developing that site, it could be somewhere else in Lacey. But what they want to do is set up until the museum project gets built, is kind of set up some more temporary infrastructure upgrades at the site so that we can have a more permanent food truck site for the next 5 or so years. And so there's funding in the 2022 budget for like extra power and water. They've asked our department to help with some of the entertainment stuff, but we did not get any increase in budget. So for us, it would be a matter of taking a look at our special events and potentially, instead of having one, say, out at Meridian Park, having it at the depot, so that we're using, the same events budget, but just doing some more stuff at the depot. And so our staff broke out into 3 groups to consider, like, what issues did we run into this year? What possible solutions can they think of? What would a layout look like for the next 5 years? And with the goal being Lacey Parks helping with 3 weekend events. That's one of the things community development was like, we really want to, we think there's an opportunity for weekend events through the spring and summer, doing food trucks, entertainment, and probably like up to 10 vendors. So that's what our staff kind of had put their heads together to talk about. And of course, anything that goes in infrastructure wise, like let's say we build a small stage or something, it needs to be closer to the depot, because as you know, anything we put in where the museum is going or the parking lot would have to get torn out. So we definitely want to, put in any extra power, water, or other infrastructure closer to the depot so that it could stay. So that's where we're at with that. And just feel free to share thoughts you have now or at a future meeting, or email me if you have ideas for that.
All right, any thoughts on the Lacey Depot? Questions? No? If not, we'll move on to 7C, Thurston County Heritage Day.
So Thurston County Heritage Day was on September 18th and was held on Zoom. I did not attend, but I was wondering if anyone else did and could report out on what happened there. Don't everyone jump up at one time. Okay, never mind. That's it for that agenda item.
All right, yeah, Thurston County Heritage Day. Yeah. Hopefully next year it won't be online. We can actually go there in person. New business, recent acquisitions. Erin.
Yeah, so we got a couple of new acquisitions this month. We got a history book on Puget Power from them, which I thought was nice. And then my really favorite one is, I'm going to share my screen here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So this is a photo of the Lacey Rotary, 1949. I accidentally saw it on eBay and I was like, buy now. So I've done some research and found out who these guys are. It's labeled Bryce Baker and Gene Tyler. These guys were big rodeo guys, mostly in Eastern Washington, but they would do the circuit. And so this kind of writing is called saddle bronc writing. And the guy on the left here is picking up the guy on the right so that he can safely swing down off of the booking bronco. It's just such a cool action shot, and we don't have any tangible items related to the rodeo. So I think this is an awesome acquisition.
So Erin, wasn't the rodeo over, let's see, do I remember right, over a little east of Ruddle and a little north of Mullen? Is that about where it was?
It was farther west than that. Here,
Farther west, okay.
I'll pull up a map. Give me a sec. This hand-drawn map is the only one that we've found that has it on here. So it's right here, crudely.
Okay, so south
Rodeo.
of Collins.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's basically right near the Panorama City, essentially.
Yes, yes. In fact, one description says that it's south of Mountain View Golf Course,
Okay.
Golf Club Road.
Mhm.
So here's the golf course, which is also panorama now. So yeah,
Okay.
40s and 50s.
All right, that's our 2 acquisitions then.
Yep.
So do we hear a motion to accept these 2 acquisitions to the museum collection?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? I have a question. How big is the photo?
It's an 8x10.
8 by 10? Okay. It's a beautiful photo. Yeah, man, that would be
Yeah.
nice if it was like really big, but yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
But it's pretty clear. I think it will blow up nicely too.
Oh, yeah. And you said, and when you blew yours up at 1949 is when that was taken then?
Yeah.
1949? Okay. All right. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of accepting our eBay purchase of the Lacey Rodeo and of the Puget Sound Energy, a book, A Century of Service, the Puget Power, to the collection? Everyone say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, it's been moved. We will have these 2 in our collection. Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for purchasing on eBay.
Yeah.
So do you often do that?
Not very often. Most of the stuff that's on eBay related to Lacey is nothing special. I would like to buy more yearbooks, but I don't know. I need to do a full inventory of what we have before I can do that. Most of it is like matchbooks and, postcards that there's a million of every now and then. So after this, I set me up an alert so that just in case I don't miss anything.
Okay. All right, let's move on to 8C, work plan for 2022.
All right. Can you see it?
I can.
So I took the work plan updates that we made last time, and then I took that and just duplicated it, put strike throughs of things we'd finished. We actually have stuff that's going to come off the work plan this year, which is amazing. So I just need your input on how you want to improve this so that this can just be like a quick review and give you more time to think about it in depth. We don't have to approve it until the end of the year, but I just thought you might want to have a chance to look at it, because we're going to have more things to look at in the next couple months.
I'm looking at it from my agenda packet. And what I'm looking for is the rack kiosk project. I know it's not our project, but is that something that we're considering putting on our work plan for next year?
Oh, that's a very good point.
Yeah, we did. You guys did say you wanted it on there.
I don't think it goes under anything, so we'll have to add it.
Something else I thought of is the Parks and Recreation, like the 6-year comprehensive plan update is going to be due in the summer of 2023. So we'll start working on that update at the beginning of 2022. And I know last time Historical Commission wanted to take a look at it earlier, because there is the strategic goal of preserving historical sites and, etc. So
What's the official title of that?
so it is the Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Plan. Update.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really positive thing to look at and think about. One of the things I've been thinking a lot about and looking at what some other cities are doing is a better integration of their like naming of parks and terminology on signage. And Gig Harbor just did a really cool project with Lashutsi language integrated. So it might be something we could like have as a goal, maybe for like a park that might have a signage refresh coming up.
Yeah. And then just to let the commission know, the Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Plan is a section out of the city's overall comprehensive plan, just for anybody who doesn't know. And that's the Community and Economic Development Department is in charge of that city plan. So any updates go through the Planning Commission. So this plan will go through Park Board, it'll go through Historical Commission, it'll go through Planning Commission, and actually it might even go through the new Commission on Equity, which I need to remember to do that from an equity standpoint. So it's going to go through everybody. It's going to be kind of cool.
I also wanted to mention, Sarah, when you bring that up, I believe, Jen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the assistant city manager is working on updating naming policies citywide. Is that true?
She has been, yeah. She was trying to make sure that the most recent park naming policy was in the city council's policies. So, but yeah, we can talk about signage. We actually, one of the projects the park board is working on is park signage update. But are you thinking of like historical sites, Commissioner 30 Acre, or just parks?
Either. I think one of the important pieces that have been spending time learning about, and it relates to equity and diversity, is that if people can't see themselves in your places, then they're not really being acknowledged. And so the idea that someone could come to one of our parks or places and they could see information about their history, and however that's displayed, ideally informed by whatever group that is, furthers that goal of inclusivity. And it's just been absent for a really long time. So I just think it would be really cool to have places in our city that represent the people of our area.
Gotcha.
If that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's something that even having certain brainstorming sessions and going beyond what we name things now, even if we're naming like shelter houses and things like at certain parks after certain members or certain groups and communities that are within our communities, things like that. That's a lot of people to bring to the table. Yeah, it's not anything that can't be done. It's just I could see that. Yeah, just kind of flipping things on its ear a little bit.
Yeah, I'm working on a project right now where it's a new park, and the wayfinding, like it has a gorgeous view looking out over the sound, and the wayfinding is going to be both in English as well as in other languages, and that includes Lashutsi, which is a commonly used like Coast Salish language, to identify like modern things like Mount Rainier or the Puget Sound. And so I just envision that like people coming to that park and having those places named in a whole suite of languages. It's just really, I guess it feels like that would feel more inclusive. So I don't know, just something for us to think about.
And then Erin, if you want to, probably we could call it the 2023 Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Plan update. just so that
Mhm.
everyone knows it's not actually due in 22. So
And we can, I will wordsmith this to come up with some better.
Aaron, I was wondering what is involved in identifying two properties from the historic property inventory to be added to the register.
Mhm.
Well, someone with appropriate knowledge, i.e. not me, would need to review the inventory and see if there's, I mean, it could be done in a couple of different ways. One is, do we already know that there are potential properties that we might like to see on the list? I have a couple in mind. And then the other way would be to start looking through the inventory and seeing if there's anything that looks like it has good potential. Sometimes you can kind of tell from the pictures that they've been changed too much. But it's going to take probably, I mean, I think we would need to hire somebody to actually do the in-depth research to conduct the nomination research.
Are you talking about federal listing?
No,
No, not National Register, just
no,
local
just
or
local,
state?
local
Okay.
probably.
So is that something we're close to thinking about doing, or have we got enough on our plate already, or?
We're close. We're not quite there. Although the inventory is done, I'm still like doing a lot of massaging of it to get it just right. I'll feel more comfortable when that part's done, forging ahead. And yes, we do have a lot on our plate, but that's something we could get a CLG grant for. We just have to have the capacity to manage the project, which I don't have right now.
That's part of why I was asking. I was also asking, frankly, because it's something that I find interesting from my perspective. So,
yeah, I'd definitely like to do it.
Mhm.
All right, is that it for the work plan for 2022? Thank you, Aaron, for sharing this. I love that we share this before we actually have to review it to vote on it.
Yeah, I will update it. If anyone has any further thoughts in the next week or two, I can add it or delete it or whatever, massage it.
Okay.
My stop sharing is gone. There it is.
All right, let's move on to 9, ad hoc committee reports. 9A, policy steps committee on hiatus. Kimberly.
Policy Steps Committee is currently on hiatus.
All right, 9B, is that Commissioner Black? Nope. Commissioner 30-acre?
I think that's me. We had our first gathering of the Archaeology Committee, and that happened, I think, last week. And the purpose of that meeting was to look at the proposed survey, the survey proposal for the museum site. And we only received one bid. There was quite a bit of conversation in the Archaeology Committee, and Eric's leaving me high and dry, but I think at least he and I thought that I think we didn't realize the city had already signed the contract. So we had hoped, I think we had thought that we were having a bit more discussion about like the methodology, especially given the cost of the survey proposal. So anyway, we now know. So it does look like the city has already engaged or executed the contract with the consultant. I think partially because there was only one bid. That bid was high, And
Screenshot.
um,
Take a screenshot.
I think Kimberly's
Sorry.
talking. So we then had a discussion regarding the next step, which is the actual field work, or the research design, then the field work. So what the committee requested was an opportunity to engage at each one of those steps, because we want to make sure that we get a product that we can use and that will also be defensible, because we're spending public money. So Aaron and Jen and Ashley were going to get us some additional information and lay out kind of the timeline for us so that we knew when we needed to be engaged in looking at the different deliverables. So that's my summary. David, do you want to add anything else?
Yes, and also, I guess getting a look at the design for the actual sampling and in the field work before the work is done.
Yeah, so we were hoping that once the consultant develops their methods and their testing plan, that we can look at that so that we can evaluate, make sure that their assumptions are accurate in terms of where the testing is, and then be able to provide some feedback if we have any concerns. And then again, I expressed an interest in at least trying to be there during the field work day, which is going to be a 1 day. And then following that, there's an opportunity for comment on the results of the field work and the draft survey. And in the contract, there was only one opportunity there for revision. So we just want to make sure that we don't miss any of those opportunities to engage. And in general, the takeaway is that, and Ashley shared this, and I'm seeing this in my professional work, is that we have a we have a shortage of resources. I don't know if we have a shortage of people. We have more projects happening right now. We have more money being pumped in to the economy and from the state. And we're seeing this across all the disciplines where things are being put out to bid and entities are only getting one response or no responses. And that's all the way from engineers to landscape architects to archaeologists. And unfortunately, then that puts us in a situation where we don't have competition and we don't have a negotiation room. So I think it's a systemic problem at this point. So that's my update. It was nice to meet with everyone and I felt like it was good conversation.
Well, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody have any questions for Sarah?
No questions. I just want to thank the committee for their help guiding us through this with their expertise.
Anytime.
And with that, let's move to 10, public comment. A, Lacey Historic Society. Hi, Lanny.
Okay, here I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All righty. I wanted to say that Aaron set up a meeting between Becky Ryder from the Lacey Community Foundation and me. Becky asked to piggyback on our 501c3. I explained to her that I am just one person and we have a board and I'd have to have approval from the board. And she said that she had gotten information from another person, another agency, which had put together the same sort of thing. And I said, that would be great if you could get those details so I can say what it would involve for us. And just a couple of days later, she wrote to me that She looked for a description of the type of partnership that it would require and realized that what was going to be asked of us was more work than originally understood. And so, so now I guess they're looking for somebody else to piggyback with. We got a huge response to our last newsletter. Despite all of the typos, which was a little embarrassing, but anyway, lots of fun letters from people and more memories and so on and so forth. And because we're not meeting as a group, because we had to postpone our annual meeting again because of COVID, that we will put out a newsletter probably in January, at least one way of staying in touch with our membership. And I don't know if Sue told you, but we had decided that, I mean, normally we've been having our annual meetings in the fall, but we've decided that is not a good time to have a meeting. And so we're looking at putting it sometime in the spring. And that's it. That's it for my report.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Are there any others from the public that would like to comment right now?
There's no one else here.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll go to 11 reports. And our first one is the museum curator.
Yeah. So we had 35 visitors last month. Although this seems really small, it's still well above pre-Sasquatch levels. For a normal September, September usually sees a really big dip. Just a lot of people going back to school and all that business. I'm working right now on a really large customer service request for someone who is helping to research the early history of the Lacey Fire District. So it's taking a lot of time, but it's also really fun to be able to dig up a lot of that history. So that's cool. I think I told you last time that Felicia had given her notice. We were really lucky that HR allowed us to fast track the process to hire someone new. And Carson Rouse, she started last week. She comes to us from North Carolina as an educator, and she is so far really great. I'm really looking forward to working with her. She's already got great ideas for programming, both within the museum as part of the exhibit and, you know, outside of the museum as well. I can't remember if I mentioned last time, but our next exhibit is going to be opening in November. It is called Righting a Wrong, Japanese Americans in World War II, and it's provided by the Smithsonian. So we will be deinstalling and reinstalling next week. And I already told you about the Heritage Capital Grant. So I also wrote a grant to the Washington State Historical Society for a new granting program they have called Diversity in Local History. And they are pairing interns with projects related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And since we had a request from Thelma Jackson to help her with the research project she's doing on Blacks in Thurston County from 1950 to 1975, I thought that would be a really great project for this grant. Since I was just having a lot of trouble with the capacity to do this project. That is all I have to report, unless anyone has any questions.
Questions, comments for museum curator? No.
Did the new staff person that you hired, are they relocating to the area?
Yeah, she and her husband were already moving here. His family is from Olympia, and he has a very portable job. So they moved here, and she was applying as the plans were being made. So yeah.
Great.
I saw her in the office last week.
Good.
And with that, number 11 reports, 11B, Commissioner's Report. Commissioner 30 Acre.
I have nothing else to share.
Commissioner Getz.
I also have nothing more to share. Thanks.
Commissioner Tyler.
I just had a thought or an idea, and I mean, it's kind of unfair to Aaron right now to throw it out, but is somebody taking random pictures of what's happening in Lacey, being as we don't have a newspaper?
You know, it is so interesting that you bring that up because I was just thinking about this the other day as I was driving through Lacey on my way to somewhere. We do get donations from time to time of people who have taken random pictures, and we have in the past had staff members and commissioners go out and take pictures of various areas. So I am totally open, especially if you're volunteering your photography services, Alan.
Well, the thing that came to mind was, this last weekend, they tore that building down on the corner of Slater Kenny and Pacific. It just disappeared over the weekend. It's gone. And so,
which building is that?
Like a flower shop.
Yeah, that old flower shop and
Next
strip
to the
mall.
well, there was a dental clinic
Oh.
there and some restaurants. And
I had a volunteer before COVID who was taking pictures of historic houses. Maybe I should contact him again and see if he'd just like to periodically take pictures of things that are changing.
However, is that technically Lacey?
Slater Kinney and what?
Pacific, yes.
Pacific.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is. It's
It's
right
on the
line.
opposite side of Slater Kinney.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's close enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely in Lacey. The sign's on the other side of the pedestrian bridge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Of course.
But at any rate, I mean, I didn't want to overwhelm you with, a bunch of pictures and stuff if, you don't have the capacity to handle that. But I'd be more than willing to take pictures and send them to you somehow. however you
Digital
got-
pictures are probably the easiest thing for me to take. So I wouldn't say no to that.
Okay. So I'll give you a call in the office and we can work through whatever details you need from me.
Okay. I don't need
right.
a storeroom for them. I just
No,
need
not at
our.
all. But- So that's all I have.
Commissioner Black.
I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Keon.
I'm still continuing to work with Aaron on the Lacey Leader photo identification and cataloging. So that's the
Talking
primary.
about Lacey newspapers. There we go.
And you guys, he's on the last box. The last box of cataloging.
Just turned the corner last week.
And then after it gets cataloged, what happens?
Well, we're also, while he's doing that, Carson's working on digitizing. So he's got oversized negatives to do after this box. And then we'll just be digitizing. And then also working on getting things identified. And then the next step after that will be getting the Lacey Leader digitized. Oh, I almost forgot. How could I forget this? Because it just happened. We got donated to us 2 microfilm readers through the Olympia Genealogical Society. They had a connection. So they're going to help us take care of them. And so the reason I suddenly thought of that is because we have the Lacey Leader on microfilm, so we can now look at our microfilms. And then I would like to get the Lacey Leader digitized so that it can be online searchable. And then that way we can figure out where the pictures match up with the newspaper articles, since that information was lost when some very well-meaning person separated the information from it.
I assure you, Aaron, every time I look at a photo, I try to figure out anything in the background that gives me a better hint about place and time.
Oh, I so believe you. I do too.
And then Youth Commissioner Miller.
Yesterday we had a work session and we were talking about the youth council's social media page, and I brought up that it might be a good idea to just post like random historical facts about Lacey, like on this day this happened, and you know, we'd probably line it up so it'd be relevant. So if you want to send an email about just facts that you would like to post throughout the month, that'd be great. And also, if there's anything else you want to promote about the Historical Commission through the Youth Council social media, I'm all ears.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's great. Youth Commissioner Miller, you want to give out your email address or a email address that we could send it to?
I'm pretty sure that my email address can be found, like if you go into the email that was sent to the entire commission.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it should be.
And if I haven't missed anybody, have I missed a part? Oh, Parks Director's last before the chair. I'll take the chair's spot today. The one thing I would like to talk about is on September 11th, the Lacey Food Bank had a harvest day that day. I had never been to the Lacey Food Bank, but I've heard about it for years and years. Went there, was impressed, shocked, and awed about how beautiful that facility is. Got to the back of there, and they have a 1 acre garden there, and was educated there by the supervisor. Her name is Mercy. And she really talked to us a lot about growing. When we're talking about diversity and things like that, diversity can mean a lot of different things. And one thing it can mean when we talk about food is what food is being given out at the food bank, what food is being grown in our community gardens. Everyone coming from a different place is not going to eat. And it's not just their culture, but their capabilities. And I know we've been running into these issues. You know, not everybody has a microwave in their house, believe it or not, and things like that. So it was a really good educational experience. And I would highly encourage anyone to get out to the Lacey Food Bank if you want to go to a community garden. They have a community garden in the back. It's 1 acres. I think Saturday between 10 and 1 would be prime time. I know we're off growing season right now, but hey, there's always compost to turn. So if you want to hang out there, you definitely can. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Parks, Culture, and Recreation Director, Burbridge.
Okay, thanks, Seth. I did have one more thing in your packet, and I wasn't quite sure where to put it, so I put it under the director's report. But hopefully you've had a chance to read through some of it. So Commissioner Seth had mentioned the Lacey Cares outreach that went out earlier this year. And so we got a ton of feedback, and the consultant put it all together for our department, because we have been drilling down, like he said, he mentioned his wife is on the outreach team. I think that's the word you were looking for earlier, to help drill down more into parks, culture, and recreation. But the original feedback that we got, there were 6,000 total ideas shared, which was just incredible. And that was for the whole Lacey Cares survey. So that was everything, not just parks. But what we got was these key takeaways. And he also let us know how many responses we got so we could see how it's weighted. But I just went through, and I probably should have highlighted more, but I just took a first glance through, you know, searched for museum, culture, and things that I thought could relate to Historical Commission. But the key takeaways and action ideas, you can look through here. Museum is mentioned. Lacey residents appreciate the ability to connect and engage in a wide variety of community cultural exchanges, festivals, and events. So that is a value and vision statement. And so I thought that was really impactful for the new museum and cultural center project, and also what the commission does. So again, there's a lot of information here. Feel free to read through it. The Depot District is mentioned, focus on the Depot District, continuing to expand community and cultural events, fairs, and celebrations, exploring and implementing facilities or features that promote diverse cultures. That's definitely museum and cultural center. host events and educational programming that increase cross-cultural and generational awareness and engagement. Continue to take actions to show that Lacey is a welcoming community. So a lot of really good stuff in here. The next steps after this is that, like I said, the consultant's been helping us with just park specific outreach. And so we do have a survey that's live right now. So Commissioner Miller, I have something for social media. If you get it out there ASAP, people have until October 31st to fill it out. So far, we have already gotten, I think, like 1,300 responses for the parks survey. So it's been really good. We're also giving away 5 $50 Visa gift cards, which doesn't hurt. If you fill it out the survey, you go in for the drawing. And so I'm going to have Sarah, if you could send that park survey out to the whole commission, not just Nathan. That way you guys can forward it to family and friends and community members as well. And so yeah. And Sarah, if you don't know where to find that, let me know. Sarah is brand new. So, and then the only other thing I just wanted to mention is that the city manager is giving his annual budget report tomorrow night to the city council at their meeting. So if anybody's interested, that's the 2022 proposed budget. And
do they usually approve that like in December? Like the first meeting in December then?
It's in December. It's sometimes the first, sometimes the second one. It just depends on the schedule. So they have a whole process. There's a couple of hearings that they need to go through. So they saw it once, they saw a preview at last week's work session. And now tomorrow night, the city manager will give his report. And then I'd have to look up the rest of the process. But just wanted to let you know in case you're interested in tuning in. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And our last item on the agenda is to adjourn. And this is where I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Quick question before we adjourn. The web page says that both surveys are closed. Am I looking at the wrong place?
Yeah, we need to give you the link. The Lacey
okay.
Cares, yeah, that was the initial survey. And so now we have a different link for the park specific one.
Got it. Thanks.
And it's for those of you that filled out the first one, that it was more extensive and time consuming. This one will be really quick for you. It'll just take a couple of minutes. So
Any other questions, comments? If not, does anyone have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning this meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, been moved. Meeting is over. Thanks, everyone. See you next month.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Seth. Thanks, everybody.